Hey, I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of the COG podcast. That's Church of God, if you hadn't figured that out. This is going to be a video documentary series where we explore faith and scripture and real life transformation through Jesus Christ. My name's John, and I'm here with my Uncle Mark, and so welcome.
Hi, I'm Mark. We are not theologians or any degrees from any seminary school. We are just two guys who fell in love with Jesus Christ and saw how He can transform our lives and other lives, personal lives, and also in church.
In each episode, we're going to open up with the Bible and talk to community members, and we're going to take a deep dive into the stories, ideas, books, and music that shape our modern Christian world. However, in this first episode, we're going to focus on one question. If there was one thing in your life that you would want people to know that Jesus has done for you, what would it be?
It's the kind of question that cuts through the noise, because at the heart of the gospel is Jesus changes lives, not just in theory, in real life, practice in families, in grief, in addiction, and also joy.
And we've seen it, we've lived it, and you're going to hear voices from members of our church community, some older, some younger. Every one of them have a story to tell that's worth telling, maybe a testimony that will witness to your own heart.
So whether if you're just sitting at your kitchen table, couch, or driving your car listening, you're wondering if Jesus shows up in real life, I'm telling you right now, stay with us.
Because we're about to share our own stories. It's not always pretty, but it's real.
You know, I was a turd growing up. And, through my marriage, I wasn't the best husband. I was not a very good person. I had indiscretions. And then with them indiscretions, it caused a lot of hurt. People I hurt that I loved, and that really did a number on me. So, it was there. I was on the fence a lot, trying to come to Jesus, but I just couldn't get on that side of the fence. So. And I had to make a change where I was going to lose everything I had. Family, kids, grandkids, wife. And, it's just I did not want to be labeled as a cheater. So I knew then I had to make a change. So Pastor Johnston gave me an invitation to Monday's men's group. He was starting a book called Stand Up. And I went. First one was kind of not uneasy, but I went back, and about a fourth week I was hooked. I was hooked deep. And I knew right then He gave me the grace to redeem myself and to have another life. So then I started going to Wednesday morning Bible study and prayer group and fell in love with it. It's two families. Monday night's family with the men's, and the co-ed Bible study on Wednesday is another family. And them people had so much to do with my journey. It is unreal. I mean, anytime you need any help, you need to talk, any one of them will stay there and listen to you. And he transformed me long, and he made it stick. Come about February last year, I was scared to death to speak in front of people. Pastor Johnson asked me to give my testimony at dinner church. And I said yes. So I went through the whole spiel of what happened. and where I was at that point in time. And when I got done, I knew then what I wanted to do. So I really started studying the scriptures. I really started focusing on my journey and how to walk like Jesus did, compassion, showing love. So here I am now, 14 months later from 16 months later from that dinner group when the first time I spoke in front of people. I went to school. I'm still in school. I finished a bunch of classes, and now, as of May the 17th, I got my Christian worker's license, and now I'm a pastor. And I could not do that without the good Lord above. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to glory when my days here has expired. And I owe him, I owe my wife a ton. Shelley, she is the most amazing person that I could have in my life at this point. But I've started an outreach ministry there a few months ago. It's called LJ Ministries. It's an outreach program. I'm working with the homeless at the homeless shelter in Wheeling. I'm starting in the Catholic Charities this coming week, ministering to them, trying to make disciples out of them, and trying to bring them people closer to God. Because that's my calling. I'm here to make disciples. I'm here to spread God's word and do. He died for me on that cross 2,025 years ago. I'm living for him now. I'm working for him. And I'm going to do the best that I can until the days I can't do no more. If you have any questions about how I transform my life or anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer your questions. But this podcast, we are coming to you to change people's lives, to show you that God is still here, God is still with us, and God will transform you. Have a good day, have a happy 4th, and God bless.
So I've been a Christian most of my life. I was saved in high school at church camp, Camp Sunrise Mountain, in the summertime before 11th grade. And I had a career in the military. And it was in 2011 when I retired from the military. I was in Morgantown at West Virginia University studying, and I lost the ability to concentrate on the things that I needed to concentrate, both for my teaching and my research and my studies themselves. I was working on a PhD in mathematics, and I ended up not being able to function very well. And I didn't quite understand what was wrong. And this eventually led to a complete collapse of my motivation to do much of anything. I ended up leaving Morgantown not long after that. That summer, I think, came home to my sister's house and basically stayed with her for a year trying to figure this out. And I couldn't. I didn't have any motivation. I was super depressed. And being a person in the military that had a pretty decent career and was motivated most of the time to get the job done, this was foreign territory, and I was completely incapable of fixing this problem. So as it happens, I went to, my mother lives in Michigan, and her father, my granddad, Jim Marsh was his name, we went up to her place in to visit, and it was on Lake Huron. And I remember one night that we were staying up there, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep as usual, and so I got up and I went across the highway, Route 25, that goes north along the water, And there was a wooden pier that was over there, and I walked out on it, and there was I don't know if it was a full moon, but I remember there being a moon out, and it was quiet and dark and just kind of like surreal, and the waves were, and you could see across, you can't see across the lake, but it was just a big, massive thing out in front of me. And I was praying and talking to God, and I was asking him, essentially what I said to him was like, look, if you have something for me to do, then you're gonna have to fix this, because I can't. I have tried and tried and tried, and I don't understand this problem, and I can't seem to get out of this rut. And you're gonna have to fix this problem, because I can't do it. And if you don't have something for me to do, then please just take me home. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to die, but if there wasn't anything for me to do, well, let's go home to glory. Well, it turns out when I got home, I got a phone call from an old friend of mine in Morgantown who was a professor there, and he was having a dinner party, and he asked me to come down. So I went down to this dinner party that next weekend, and I remember pulling off the side of the road as I entered West Virginia on I-79 coming south from Pennsylvania into West Virginia, and saying a little prayer. If you're gonna fix me, fix this problem, then do it, please. And so I go to this party, and I met two other gentlemen at this party, Mr. Stiller and Mr. Pell. And of course the guy that had the party was there too, my professor friend. And so during this party, 3 things happened. My professor invited me back to the university. Mr. Stiller gave me a research position. And Mr. Pell gave me a place to live for free. Are you kidding me right now? Like, boom, boom, boom. So what happens? That's a miracle in and of itself. I know it's like circumstantial, and you can probably sit there and say, well, things are just, God, this is the way he works. This is the way he does things. So I get back down to Morgantown, and I get back into it, and I'm, running on all cylinders again. And, but then 2 years later, a year and a half later, while I was down there, I got a notice from back home. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be here, back home in Wheeling area. And there was a job opening at Lindsley School in Wheeling, and they needed a math teacher pretty bad, somebody to do calculus. And so I came up and I interviewed with the headmaster, and everything looked good, and so I took the job. And I spent the next 10 years at Lindsley. And while I was at Lindsley, I had sworn off women because I just didn't think it was going to happen. And but I met my wife and our 2 kids, and we had 2 kids since then, Audrey and John. Rebecca's my wife. Audrey and John. Audrey is 8 and John is 6 right now. And we live on campus. Rebecca works at Lindsley, and she's a dorm parent here. And we have a wonderful life. And, we have, this is, the Christian life is a great life. That is a redemption story for me. And that is one of the greatest things that God has ever done for me in my life.
One thing I would want people to know is that with my salvation through Jesus, he's given me a confidence to face anything in this world, because I know that this world is not the end, and there's so much better stuff to look forward to in heaven.
I would think the most important thing that Jesus ever did for me is cleanse me of my sin and save my soul. So.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.